and what keeps you like motivated, and like why the private lending space, why title? What is your why?
I mean, I started off at a little mom and pop title company down in Florida. And I feel like when I first started, it was residential transactions.
And some people don't know what title companies even do, right? So if you were to like 101, like where you partake in that transaction.
That's honestly such a good one, because I also feel like there's a very big different age gap between
the fact of you buying something and actually have a documentation that you actually own the house.
No, like just making sure that everything, it's insurance. So like making sure that everything is insured in your name.
Welcome back to another episode of Simple Chat. I'm your host, CEO and founder of Simplending Financial, Janine Cascio. And today we have a very special guest, Mariana De Silva from BCHH Title. Mari, I'm so glad you're here and your first podcast on Simple Chat.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here.
So do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about your role and what you do at BCHH?
Yeah, so I'm the client relations manager at BCHH. I handle, the onboarding process and bringing on new clients. Any of the clients that typically come over to us, we sit down with them and we have, a full-on workflow, full-on workflow depiction. So like they let us know how their process works. We mirror that over internally on our end so that they can get the best product that we can probably provide to them. And so I manage that part of the department, as well as our customer service team, and then our digital marketing as well.
Very cool. And you travel a lot too for your role, right? Going to the shows.
Yes, I get to all of the fun private lenders.
Is that the fun? Is that the best part of the job?
It's definitely one of the better parts of the job, I would say. Just making connections and talking to everybody and kind of just like putting faces to names. Because I feel like in our industry, everybody is just like sitting behind a computer or like trying to push, transactions through. So when you do get to meet the people that are, physically involved in everything, it's pretty cool. I really like that part about the job.
Yeah, Sydney and I speak about that a lot too, because there's so many emails that go back and forth each day. And we're constantly talking to these people, and then you finally like get to meet them in person. You're like, oh, hey, what's up?
Exactly.
So what would you say is like your why, and what keeps you like motivated, and like why the private lending space, why title? What is your why?
I mean, I started off at a little mom and pop title company down in Florida. And I feel like when I first started, it was residential transactions. So it was like face to face with people, kind of just seeing how they were either purchasing their first property, or, it was kind of like making a change person to person. And then as I found BCHH, it was kind of like a whole different aspect to real estate, where we're working with private lenders and investors. And so seeing a lot of what these investors and private lenders are creating or like pushing through. So if it's like a property where they're opening up apartment complexes or like finding housing for people, I think that's really what pushes me to like work in this industry, is just because we know we're kind of making a difference on the back end, even though we're handling all of the crazy stuff in the front end. But also,
some people don't know what title companies even do, right? So if you were to like 101, like where you partake in that transaction, like what do you kind of tell people like not in this industry?
That's honestly such a good one, because I also feel like there's a very big different age gap between, people who understand the industry and kind of like the new generation coming in. And so even like at my age, I'm constantly having to explain to my friends. They're like, what do you actually do? And so I'm like, well, when you go buy your first house, you'll kind of see the person who sits there with you, and that closer, that's the one that, that's what I started doing. But in title, it's kind of having to explain to somebody like, you never want to buy a house and then all of a sudden you're out selling that house or you're flipping it or doing something, and then like you can't because you have liens on the property, you have permits on the property. There are certain things that weren't really taken care of in the beginning, and now you have a bad chain of title, or it's just making sure that at the end of the day everything is clean on that title,
or even the fact of you buying something and actually have a documentation that you actually own the house, because there's probably fraud that you see as well, and people pretending to own like a plot of land and they're not even on title. And that's how people get, caught up in all this fraud. So having title agents obviously protect you as well.
Like just making sure that everything, it's insurance. So like making sure that everything is insured in your name, in the lenders and all that good stuff.
For sure. So what challenges do you feel like you have being in this space? And to add to that, because we're a woman in this space and it's very male dominated, do you feel, this is a two-part question because I love to ask it, especially that we're a part of an association that we're like one of 10 women in. Do you feel like being a woman in this space is challenging?
I think it's definitely getting better. I feel as though being a young woman in this space, it is very hard to kind of like gauge, the things that you can and can't say and all that good stuff. I think that honestly, at the end of the day, finding your group of people is what really helps you like move your mindset and kind of just like get to know people in this space. I think our space is very intimidating, just because it is a financial aspect type of space. So there's money involved, there's real estate involved. And so really just trying to find like your group of people that are very genuine and can be honest with you and can tell you when you're doing things that you might not really want to, or just kind of navigating it, finding mentors, people like that. But no, I mean, I've been in it for 7 years, and it was a lot of kind of gauging what the industry was like in the beginning and kind of being told, things that you really only would ever hear about now in like textbook format, where it's like, no, you can't, associate certain things with that. People are trying to move up and women are trying to move up. And I think the more that we have women involved in this space and, a younger generation, the mindset will change. I think it just takes time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I'm excited to be in the association with you and be hopefully the cornerstone of those times changing. Women in general just were allowed to, open their own bank accounts like in 1975. So I think it does just take time. Cool. Yeah. I'm so happy that you had the time to be on Simple Chat. I'm excited to build our relationship that we've already curated, and only looking forward to that growing and expanding. Excited to have you in Houston for our 3-year as well, and speaking of the event. But how do people find you if they want to, they need a title person, and how do they contact you?
100%. I am always on social media. We live in a world where social media is definitely something that drives our industry, especially right now. And so, LinkedIn is a great place to find me. I'm very active there. I manage our accounts. So of course, reach out to me on there. Or you can do it old school too. Email, phone number, mdesilva@bchhinc.com, or my phone number 407-550-7261. That one. That's a great one.
Damn, she's dropping the digits on Simple Chat. Make sure you guys call the girl, okay? You have it here. You'll know why this video gets the most views on our page. Thank you, everyone, for joining Simple Chat. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. Thanks.
Thanks, Janine.